Scientists' terrifying new beach discovery that can change everything. Beaches across the globe are relics of the past of peculiar and unexpected breakthroughs. Almost any beach has had its good proportion of bizarre things and life forms wash ashore. But the majority of what the waters are vomiting out are remnants, plastic pollutions, and other toxic excrements that, truthfully, should not have been tossed in the oceans and the seas to begin with. But more frequently than not, some truly amazing objects clean up on the beach. Many previously unknown organisms have also washed up on shores in the latest days. Much to the shock of oceanographers, in a real sense, all kinds of things, both intact and inert, have been transported to the beach. Massive grotesque aquatic organisms, human organs, ancient remains, and World War planes and ships have been washed up on different shores. Occasionally, a large number of specific ocean habitation species begin washing up on the shores as if fighting a war against the land dwellers. It's not as unusual as it appears for long-lost organisms and stuff to re-emerge on shores because the water currents are sufficient to transport them wherever nature aims. Are you aware that Australia itself has over 10,000 shorelines? If you visited one each day for 27 years, you would still not have seen them all. Incredible, yeah? As to if you enjoy spending time at the beach or despise it due to all the sand, we assure you, you won't be able to resist being captivated by the prized possessions we're just about to display to you that have been washed up on the shores. So please stay tuned until the end and tell us what you think about these. Dinosaur bone. A segmented femur bone, discovered underwater after millions of years, has been identified as the initial proof that a dinosaur once wandered Washington, according to a new study. This dinosaur was not just any dinosaur. It was a mammal, a two-legged, mainly meat-eating gang of creatures similar to today's birds that includes Tyrannosaurus rex and Velociraptor. Scientists discovered the 80-million-year-old dinosaur fossil while looking for ammonites, extinct marine invertebrates with spiral shells, and other fossilized animals. They had concentrated their field research in the San Juan Islands, the Iron Chain, situated just a short boat ride from Seattle. When the tidal wave occurred in April 2012, they discovered a fossilized bone ingrained in the maritime stone. The researchers actually notified paleontologists at the University of Washington, who dispatched a team to dig up the fossils with a rock saw in May of that year. When the researchers deleted the fossil from the rock and turned it over, they discovered numerous classic symptoms that it was half of a theropod dinosaur's left femur, thigh bone. By analyzing its environs, the investigators were able to portray a more comprehensive picture of this critter. The sample was discovered near fossils of the mollusk genus Chrysotelites, Conradiana, which resided in shallow water, according to the researchers. According to the cockles, the dinosaur dropped dead near the sea, was chucked around by the waves, and discovered its almost everlasting burial site among the cockles. World War II fighter plane. In September 1942, an American fighter plane crashed and landed on a beach in North Wales. This plane has been since entombed in the sand of the shore and appears dead on the seafloor on circumstance. This Lockheed P-38 lining is the very first fighter aircraft wreckage in the United Kingdom to be designated as a shielded ancient and archaeology location. Second Lieutenant Robert F. Elliott of Rich Square, North Carolina, piloted the plane. Since the 1970s crash, the aircraft has been discovered 3 times, once in 1977, once in 2007, and once in 2014. The planning of the plane's wreckage by Cardew, according to historians, symbolizes and admits the crucial roles of this airplane and speaks a lot about the part played by Wales in the air war against Nazi Germany. Millions of sailor jellyfish, literally billions of by-the-wind seaman jellyfish, Velella, wash up and pass away on beaches all over the globe each year. These jellies glide near the surface of the ocean and have a small sail on their backs that captures wind and propels them from one feed intake location to the next. Large settlers of jellies can become marooned on the beach when air currents alter over the periods. Sometimes those territories contain dozens of individual jellies, and other times they contain millions. Why are some Velella strandings so much larger than others? A study published in March 2021 discovered that the most severe beaching incidents happen in years with historic highs in ocean surface temps, which were caused by a concept called the blob. The blob heats the surface waters of the Pacific Ocean, cultivating bigger territories of Velella at sea. When the winds keep changing, those huge colonies wash ashore, leaving millions of jelly carcasses on beaches. This trend of mass extinctions is likely to continue as global warming accelerates over the next few decades. Young killer whale strands on a Scottish beach. In January, an adolescent killer whale was gallantly saved after becoming marooned on a Scottish beach. The relief was conducted out on Sanday, an island off the coast of Scotland, by a collective of qualified doctors and nurses from the British Divers Marine Life Rescue (BDMLR) and beneficial residents. They were able to lift the animal off its side and onto a special dolphin gurney after deciding that it was nutritious and old enough to sustain on its own. 8 people were needed to lift the 11-foot-long, 3.4-meter killer whale into greater depths. Then it vanished into thin air, never to be seen again. The complete relief did take slightly more than an hour, but BDMLR area team leader, Neve Webb, who prompted the recovery, thinks it was only feasible of the group's recently brought dolphin gurney and the assistance of residents. It was a lucky animal to end up on an island with people who knew what they were doing and had the devices to save it, she explained to Live Science. It certainly picked the right spot to throw itself on the beach. A truck-sized basking shark. A 26-foot-long, 8-meter-long male basking shark washed up on the beach of Bremen, Maine in January. Breathtaking fishes with its cab body. Basking sharks are the world's second-largest fish, living in warm waters all over the world. Only the enigmatic whale shark, which can grow to be 18 meters long, is larger. Despite their intimidating size, basking sharks are not dangerous to humans. They favor floating through the water with their mouths open, sifting delicious zooplankton and tiny invertebrates through their intricate gills. What was the cause of death of the Bremen shark? Marine scientists are still unsure. Twisted rope pile on a Texas beach. It may appear to be a twisted-up growl of yellow rope, but this thorny heap washed up on a Texas beach is actually a type of coral known as a colorful sea whip. Sea whips get their vivid colors from colonies of soft-bodied coral polyps, which come in yellow, red, orange, purple, lavender, and violet. The image was shared on Facebook by a National Park Service (NPS) guide who found the buried underground rope ball at the Padre Island National Seashore near the Gulf of Mexico. Several commenters mentioned seeing colorful sea whips on the beach before, but always presumed they were garbage, such as thrown away cords or fishing nets. 40 refloated whales in New Zealand. When 49 long-finned pilot whales marooned on a remote beach in New Zealand on a February morning, hundreds of people gathered. 9 whales died as a result of the beaching, but preservation rangers, residents, and helpers from the Marine Rescue Group Project, JONA, cared for the left alive whales all day, preserving their skin cool and moist and stopping their fins from being decimated underneath their beached bodies. By the evening, high tide had arrived, allowing the group to guide the whales back into the deeper waters. The volunteers headed the whales back into a pod and then formed a barrier to keep them away from the beach. Once the animals reached deep enough water, boats began patrolling the shoreline to keep the whales away. Toxic tar balls wash up on Israel's coastline. Peculiar tar balls started to wash up along Israel's Mediterranean coast in February. Tar balls spread over 160 kilometers as a result of an oil spill 50 kilometers off the coast. Oil spills typically form a slick across the sea's surface and wash up on beaches in a more liquid state. The Israel spill, on the other hand, turned into tar balls after a storm broke up the slick and mixed it into the seawater for several days, resulting in small, focused orbs of clotted oil. The government called it one of the most severe environmental devastation the country had ever seen. Beaches were also closed to the public after several cleanup volunteers were taken to the hospital after inhaling toxic fumes emitted by the tar balls. Have you ever discovered something strange and terrifying on the beach? Let us know in the comments, and hit the like and subscribe buttons.